Friends and travelers, however you've arrived, I bid you welcome. Here at Let's Be Frank, we're about lives, and above all, living well. But I don't suppose a podcast hosted by Benjamin Franklin could be about anything else. In my lifetime, I pursued the practice of moral improvement like a science, recording my successes, and yes, oftentimes reveling in my failings. It's my hope, with our weekly almanac, to deliver to a curious world delicious morsels of history in quick, easy to digest installments, perfect for a sit in your favorite chair or a morning walk to work. At the end of each installment, I like to wrap it up in a neat little lesson you can apply to your own life, taken from the events, stories, and personalities shared in each episode. So sit back, relax, and together, let's make history. Greetings and salutations, dear listener. Welcome to another installment of Let's Be Frank, an auditory almanac for the curious mind with me, your faithful friend and host, Dr. Benjamin Franklin, printer. Follow B. Franklin Live across our various social media platforms. B. Franklin Live on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Let's Be Frank, an auditory almanac for the curious mind on Facebook. And if you wish to support the history we try to make every day, consider becoming a member of our Patreon Junto to unlock the varied benefits that come from supporting the history that we make. It's been a historic week in 2024. But what was going on in Ben Franklin's world 250 years ago? The answer to that can be found in this week's edition of This Past Week, a Patreon exclusive piece of content where every week I bring you a primary source around Ben Franklin's life from the week this episode takes place. And this week we have something somewhat different. Rather than a letter from myself, we have an account from the Convention Journal from the Constitutional Convention, which began to convene around this time 237 years ago today. Join our Patreon, become a part of our community, and see this exciting source for yourself. I had the great pleasure this week of visiting with Lisa Boatland's second grade class at McCutcheonsville Elementary School in Evansville, Indiana. A happy reminder to our listeners that if you wish for a virtual visit with Dr. Benjamin Franklin, or an in-person visit at your school or theater, to kindly reach out on any of our social platforms or via the email inquiries@bfranklinlive.com. Our conversations ranged from science to moral philosophy to what qualities best exemplify a good person. My conversations with them inspired me to revisit my 13 virtues as well as my plan for moral improvement. And so, in next week's episode, I'm going to be exploring that as well as how I scheduled and managed my days. I wanted to extend a thank you to those young scholars for teaching me as much as I hope I taught them. With that out of the way, we can get to today's installment. For purposes of good order, this podcast is composed of several primary sources associated with Ben Franklin's life, knit together to collect it all into one narrative on a cohesive theme. Today's installment is going to deviate from that. My friends, as you know, today is Memorial Day, which for Americans in 2024 means a holiday. Means a day of sales, means the beginning of summer, the end of school. It means a day of recreation and celebrating. But the reason why we have this day is unique from others. Memorial Day is a day for remembering the fallen, for those soldiers who gave up those holidays, those days off, those times with friends and family, who gave up the uncounted memories they may have had in service of others. Instead of a weekly episode, my dear friends, I thought we could partake in a moment of silence to commemorate and laud those individuals. Alas, I have no laurels I can lay. I have no great ceremonies I can undertake. I have myself, I have my funny clothes, and I have all of you. We lead very busy lives, and no doubt, my friends, you have countless plans with your day. But I wondered if where we are sitting now, we might undertake together collectively the power of silence, which is one of the virtues that I speak about in my 13 virtues, which I'll do an episode upon the following week. I say of silence that one should speak not but what might benefit others or yourself. And I wonder today, my friends, if it might benefit all of us better by being quiet together rather than of speaking. So I invite you and I conjure you, my beloved Junto, to please join me in collectively remembering those sacrifices and taking part in the power of silence. I will write that man is divided into 3 categories: those who are immovable, those who are movable, and those who move. Today, let's remember those fallen who, immovable, made motions in the defense of an idea. That's all for today's installment. Would that we had more hours in the day, but as always, we have nothing but time between us. Resource materials and images from this week's episode can be found in the journal section of B. Franklin Live. If you like the show, subscribe and stay up to date with all the latest gossip. Do me the kindness of leaving a review, and dear listeners, spread the word. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your neighbors, tell your horse, I don't care. Let's make our intellectual junto grow. And now, my friends, our time together must come to an end. Fare thee well, and always remember, when you're good to others, you are best to yourselves. Until we meet again, I remain your humble and obedient servant, Dr. Benjamin Franklin, printer. Stay curious, my friends.